So we continue with we continue leadership. But today we want to talk about moving from entrepreneurs to leader. What would have caused an entrepreneur to start thinking or behaving or starting to become a leader? One of the reasons is that an entrepreneur would have been successful. So if that business becomes successful, that means there's need to expand your operations. There's need to, to start thinking about dealing with more customers, more employees, and more regulations. So all these things does not just involve you being an entrepreneur. It needs you to be a leader, because we said the leader is an individual who tells us what to do, guide us how to do it, or guide us on how to do it to achieve a set of goals. So for all these things to happen, the mindset has to change. You need to start acting or behaving like a leader. So let's read anyway. Moving from entrepreneur to leader. If an entrepreneur sets up a business and becomes successful, the role of the entrepreneur is likely to change as business expands. Running a sole trader business with 2 employees and turnover of 250 is different from the challenge of running a large PLC with 59,000 employees and a turnover of 3 billion. So the change in the role stems from the need to deal with growth. So basically what they're saying is that an entrepreneur, that change in the role is based on the fact that the business has succeeded and there's need for expansion. So what are those things that would happen when the business expands? One, the number of employees will increase. The number and size of financial transactions will increase. The number and size of customers, the customer base will increase. Not only that, the amount of regulation policies needed will also increase to be able to have a structure. Quantity of resources, that means the amount of resources availability, or the amount of resources needed will also increase. The level and the range of communication needed would also increase, because now you have to deal with different stakeholders. So the transition from entrepreneur to leader is likely to require a number of changes in the way the business is run. This usually means that entrepreneurs have to adapt and perform different functions. So the goal of entrepreneur has to change to become a leader, because the business is expanding. So why must it change? One, the need for formality. When you are running a small business, you might act and you might continue to do the operation in an informal way. But as soon as the business becomes big and all eyes are on the business, the expectation of the business increases. So the reputation is at stake. There's need to formalize everything. So that is why there's need for formality. Documentation needs to be detailed, and details needs to follow. Documentation has to happen, and everything that involves formality or formalizing the business must take place. That is the first reason why. And this cannot be done when you are still like an entrepreneur. You need to become a leader to start thinking about all these things. So the second one, the need for shared ownership. When businesses grow, they need capital to fund expansion. To obtain funding, it is sometimes necessary to invite new owners to contribute capital. So the business is growing. The entrepreneur now becoming a leader might not have the financial capability to run the business. So there's need to invite investors. Inviting investors means additional capital, yes. But what will happen is that you lose your ownership. So the more capital you have, the less power and authority you have in the business, because the ownership has to be shared. But one thing is certain, capital will be injected into the business and it can be used for the operations. The third one, greater responsibility to others. An entrepreneur running a small business is only likely to have responsibility for small numbers of employees. But as soon as the business becomes bigger, then there are stakeholders that will be involved. Shareholders will be involved, employees will be involved, customers will be involved, the environment will be involved, government will be involved. Here, you can't just continue to be an entrepreneur. You start acting as a leader, because all these people, you have to be answerable to them. An entrepreneur is not always answerable to people, to stakeholders. But as a leader, because of the kind of attitude, because of the characteristics that you possess, you must be able to, be responsible to others. That's the third reason why you should become a leader. The fourth one, the need for motivation and inspiration. Like we said, a leader is a person who tells us what to do, guides us on how to do it to achieve a set of goals. So being a leader, you need to motivate people. You need to inspire them. You need to let them understand that they can do things. You need to empower them. So for this to happen, you can't just continue to be an entrepreneur. You need to become a leader. The next reason why it is important to transform from an entrepreneur to a leader when the business grows is that there's a need for strategy and vision. One of the characteristics of an entrepreneur is to be visionary. So being visionary means you can see the end from the beginning. You are able to understand that there's need for changes and you carry on with these changes. You are able to trust your process and stand with your policies. So these things need leadership. So without being a leader, you might not be able to strategize or have vision. So that's the reason why it's important to be a leader again. So that's all about the transformation that warrants an entrepreneur to become a leader when the business expands. So we go on to the difficulties in developing from entrepreneur to a leader. We go to the difficulties in developing from entrepreneur to a leader. It's not easy to transform, but whatever it might be, it is important to transform as soon as your business expands. So what are the reasons why it's become difficult, or what are the difficulties that an entrepreneur would face when he or she is becoming a leader? The first one, adapting the mindset. The mindset of an entrepreneur, entrepreneurs usually have a desire for greater control over their life, career, and destiny. They want more autonomy and to do things in their own way. However, a different mindset is needed when the business expands. Leaders have to relinquish some control and learn to delegate and focus on different things. They have to believe that specialists will do a better job in certain fields and that they cannot do everything themselves. For some people, this is very difficult. They may have doubts, fears, and lack of trust that could create a barrier to development. So the first problem is this: the mindset has to change. When as entrepreneur, you become an entrepreneur because you want to have control over your life. You want to have control over everything you do. You want to take your decisions because these are rules of entrepreneur. But when the business expands, that new investors are joining, things has to change. So you shouldn't believe you can do everything yourself anymore. You need to delegate authority. You need to trust experts. You need to understand that some jobs, some tasks, some roles, you cannot do it. You need people to get it done. So you won't have that. The mindset of doing everything yourself would have to change. So that's adapting a new mindset. Is it clear? Yes. Second one, stress. Running a business is stressful. The livelihood of entrepreneurs and their families are dependent upon the success of the business. There's a constant worry that the business won't provide, and what will happen if the business collapses. One major causes of stress is the worry that debtors will fail to pay what they owe. However, if the business grows, it is likely that it is being successful. But with growth comes more stress, as there is more at stake. The business may have borrowed money that must be repaid. There are more staff and more responsibilities with an increased scope for conflict because more people are involved. Conflict is a common cause of stress in larger organizations. In larger organizations, some stakeholders have different needs that might cause conflicts. So basically what they're talking about stress is that how to manage the business. The business is growing, is expanding. There are different people that you have to deal with. There's dynamism in people. Yeah. We have different kind of people there. And there will be conflict, there will be disagreements. So how are you going to be able to, to manage this situation? And the more bigger the business becomes, the more stress you would encounter. And not only that, the success of the business, your family is even at stake because the success of the business is attached to how your family will survive. Do you understand? It's your business, yes. But if your business fails, it's not going to only affect, it's going to affect your family. So if it means the success of the business will also have an impact on the family. So the fear of succeeding, the fear of not failing, the fear of debtors not paying back, the fear of you not being able to meet up with deadlines is stress. All these things you have to adapt to it. Clear? Sharing ownership and control. As soon as the business expands, you are inviting new investors. Your share of ownership would reduce. The authority you have, the control you have would reduce. Because investors would want to take part in the decision making too. Okay. Trust. As entrepreneurs develop as leaders, they may have problems trusting people. As the business grows, there is a need to delegate and employ specialists. Some leaders find it difficult to delegate, and many become suspicious of new senior staff. When specialists are appointed, the leader may feel that the specialists know more than them. The leader may feel threatened and concerned that they are being kept in the dark or manipulated. If leaders cannot trust the new owners and staff, there may be problem because employees may question whether or not the leader trusts them. So the problem of trust. As the business expands, you need specialists, you need to delegate authority. You can't do everything anymore. You can't do everything yourself. So you need to start trusting people. You need to start delegating. But the problem is this: you might, as an entrepreneur, you might think they won't do it better like you want it. Or they might know more than you do, and the threat of them going to have their own business is there, or manipulating you is there because you think they know more than what you do. So all these things are problems, and the only way to solve it is to trust the process. Is it clear?
Yes.
Lack of leadership quality. As an entrepreneur takes on more leadership quality duties, they may be concerned that they lack the necessary leadership skills and qualities. So problem solving, decision making, organizational skills, structuring, these are what a leader should do. But if you are becoming a leader and you lack these things that I just mentioned, then it becomes a problem. You won't be able to lead. Being an entrepreneur is different. Being a leader is a different ball game.
Yeah.
So for you to be a leader, you need to inspire people, you need to motivate people, you need to know how to arrange things, organize things. So these things are not things that are easy to do. You need to be able to solve problems as soon as possible. Decision making has to be prompt and strict. So these things, if you don't have the quality to carry on with these things, or if you don't possess these qualities, then it becomes a problem for you to become a leader. Yeah. Any question about that? So how do you overcome these problems stated? The first thing you can do, delegation and trust. The problem is delegation. The problem is trust. You don't trust them. You don't think they can do it. You don't think they are capable. You think they know more than you do. You think they are manipulating you.
Yes.
So you have to start delegating. You have to start trusting them. Because success, if you want to be successful, you need people around. They will be there when you're not available. So you need to trust that. You need to trust them. So you need to be comfortable to believe that, oh, Mr. A should get it done. Oh, while I'm not there, Mr. B or Miss X will get it done. So you have to delegate and trust, because this reduces your stress, and the business can move forward. Because when you have different people coming up with different ideas, different skills, when you give the job to specialists, then they will do it well. They will be efficient. Unlike you getting it done every now and then, they will do it in the best way that would suit the market, objective or the business objective, and that would make success. So, earn respect. Many of the difficulties outlined above can be overcome. The leader can earn respect from all stakeholders. People will be more trustworthy, effective, and flexible if they are treated well. This means meeting their needs at work, praising them when they excel, being fair but tough, open and honest. Respect might also be earned if the organizational culture is open, positive, and accepted. So you need to earn the respect of your stakeholders. And to earn their respect means you are tough but fair, you are on time, you are punctual, you say things the way they are supposed to be said, you are truthful to them, you are truthful to yourself, you care about their welfare. If all these things are done, they will respect you. And when you earn their respect, this will be done without questioning. Clear?
Yeah.
Maturity and experience. Some people are born leaders. They are born leaders. They have the charisma.
Yes.
They find leadership natural and have the charisma is there, and leadership qualities needed to be successful. However, others may develop into good leaders. Through maturity, experience, drive, learning from mistakes, they can overcome any difficulties they may encounter. The transition from entrepreneur to corporate leader may be a lengthy one. So some people are born leaders. They are leaders.
Yes.
You can't take it away from them. They are born. It's part of their life. But others might have to learn through it. They become leader based on experience, maturity, mistakes made, and correcting their mistakes and so on. So they might go through a lengthy process, but at the end of it all, because their focus is becoming a leader, they will get through it. They understand maturity and experience there.
Yes.
So to overcome the problem, you need to mature and have experience. Clear?
Yes.
You also need the education. Some of the leadership skills can be learned by attending specialist courses. There are countless courses that are designed to help business people improve management, negotiation, communication, decision-making skills. Additionally, additional languages can be taught, as can report writings and IT skills. So you need to be educated. Not that you are not educated, you are educated, yes, but you need to learn more. You need to learn, you need to unlearn, you need to relearn to become a leader. And with these three things I just mentioned now, you find it easy when it comes to transforming from an entrepreneur to a leader. Clear?
Yes.
Reduce stress. That's another reason. And how can you reduce stress? You need to be calm. The calm leaders are more likely to succeed than stressed leaders. What makes you, how do you reduce stress? One, having a balanced diet, sharing your feelings, say your mind out, maintain a sense of humor, cool down, listen to people, get their point of view, embrace them, embrace ideas. Avoid alcohol, drugs, and tobacco. Stop these things. Taking regular exercise, do exercise, resting, relax. So your nerves can also, get some rest. Having a balanced work and leisure lifestyle. So strike a balance between work and off work. With this, you can reduce your stress and you become a better leader or successful one. Is that all?
Yeah.
So that ends chapter 18, leadership. Okay. The next lesson will be on entrepreneur and leaders.